Hello, look at me all mum-like with my glasses. So anyway, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. That's what all the famous YouTubers say, right? Recently, I asked on Instagram, I did like a Ask Me Anything, a parenting theme Ask Me Anything, where I asked you guys to ask me your parenting questions and I'll answer. And instead of just answering them on IG stories, I decided this time to just put everything in a video so that it stays up longer than 24 hours. So let's go! So I feel like the questions are like a good mix of like parenting for like younger kids, like toddlers, and also school age kids. So yeah, so I think this video is pretty suitable for anyone who's a parent, and it's always nice to know that other people are going through the same things as we all are. So let's go. So the first question: how do you maintain being a nice mom while instilling discipline at home? So first of all, I don't think that being nice is one of my concerns when it comes to being a mom. As a mom, I think what's most important to me and like the kind of mom that I want to be is, other than nice, is kind and loving and consistent. So if you are going to have to discipline your child, or if you're going to have to set boundaries, certain boundaries that they cannot cross, or if you're going to implement some consequences on whatever actions they've done, if it's not being nice, but I think that we can have sympathy for what they're going through. We can make space to understand their feelings and to know that they are entitled to their feelings, but still holding the boundary firm and not giving in, and holding on to the consequence of their actions or whatever that is. So yeah, I don't think you need to be to discipline, you need to be fierce or not nice. And I don't think that being nice doesn't mean that you can't also be a consistent and firm parent. Next question: how do you keep cool when your kids are not behaving? So for this, I realized that it's not that I don't lose my temper. I do lose patience with them. I do lose my temper with them. And but the times where I realize that I do that the most is basically when I'm like drained, when I'm super tired, or I'm really busy at work, or like I'm burnt out lah, when I don't have that capacity in myself to have patience and to have empathy. And that's when I'll blow up. So if you're really serious about like keeping cool when your kids are misbehaving, right, I would say like the first thing is just really to take care of yourself. Make time to rest, make time for your own personal upkeep and your own hobbies and interests and your friends. And yeah, I feel like that's just the most effective way of keeping yourself patient and keeping your cool when your kids are going crazy. Then this is very funny. This is a parenting question. It's for Butters. So it says, what do you do to be a good parent for Butters? I actually really never thought about this. For me, there's two sides of it. One is taking good care of him physically, which means making sure that he's eating nutritious food. Chewing helps me a lot because she does a lot of research into like dog food and all that, and then I just end up following her. Blueberries, pumpkin, or what else? And then on the other side, I think he's a poodle, right? And poodles are very family oriented and very social dogs. So like I think the worst thing that we could do for him is leave him alone at home while all of us go to work or go to school. And luckily our family are in a position not to do that, so he always has somebody at home with him. Like when the kids go to school, at least I'm still at home working from home, or Tim is still at home, or like our helpers at home. And whenever we get a chance, seriously, we are always just looking for like pet friendly places so that we can bring him along, because he's literally our family member. Our weekends are all spent in like pet friendly places just so that we can bring him. Oh, and also don't forget your vet visits, and like the vaccines, especially when they're puppies and stuff like that. And also socialization. I feel like that's quite important, because I read somewhere that if you don't socialize your dog or get your dog used to like 100 different sounds, there's like a whole list of them, then they might grow up to be very anxious or very wary of new experiences lah. And because of our lifestyles, I knew that that's not what we wanted for him. So like I was very careful to socialize him with other dogs and get him used to like new sudden experiences. Although I must say, now that he's like turning 5 this year, he's getting quite grumpy, so he's very grumpy towards other dogs, certain other dogs. Do you limit your children's screen time? How do you manage your kids' screen time? Oh my god, this is like an age-old topic for like millennial parenting. I'm not going to talk about it here because I actually wrote a whole post on my Substack about this. I'm going to drop the link in I guess the description, and then you guys can go and click and have a look. How do you navigate tricky teachers that are literally old school and project it on kids? This is also a tough one. I feel like I'm speaking from a very privileged point of view when I talk about this, because like we basically have the resources to make choices based on this, and I understand that like not everybody has the ability to like to choose schools or like to choose teachers like us. So like how we did it was when the kids were in Chinese school, there were like a few fierce teachers that were very like they were really old school like much older than us. Like I really didn't know how to handle them. Some of them would actually whack kids also, but it's like the maybe like the most naughty ones that they really cannot take it anymore, then they whack them. My kids didn't get hit lah, but then they really lived in fear watching the teacher whack other kids. And I also remember like the teacher would like carry this, I think in school like they have this huge wooden ruler that's like 1 meter long, the one that they use like as a pointer. So the teacher would like use this ruler and like whack on the furniture. As a 7-8-year-old, it's very scary. Then she would like kick tables also apparently, and use like her megaphone to like blast into like the kids' ears, which sounds kind of stupid, but it's also very mean and very fierce and very unkind. Yeah, so like how we navigated that was that we just switched schools. So I don't have like a solution for you guys, because like that's what we did, and I understand that that might not be possible for every family. But I guess like if I really couldn't switch schools, I would probably try to talk to the teachers. But that said, like that we can do all this, but whether things change or not is a different issue. As the kids grow older, how do you manage kids' demands for personal time and space and family time get together? My kids are 11 and 9, turning 12 and 10 this year. Like it hasn't really come yet, but I've heard from like friends with older kids who when the kids are teenagers, they start to think that it's not so cool to hang out with their parents anymore, and they want to do their own thing. Or like we are not there yet, but I do see it happening a little bit. Like sometimes Fighter gets a bit lazy to go out with us because he just wants to chill at home and play Roblox, or sometimes they want to spend time with their friends. And for me right now, because they're still pretty young, like it's not really overboard, so I'm very happy for them to spend time with their friends. Like I don't mind like arranging play dates for them, and I definitely don't mind hosting their friends at my house. That said, we do have certain rules. So weekends are usually always family days where we intentionally spend time together as a family. Oh, hello. Weekday dinners, like if Tim and I are not going out, like I also kind of limit myself like on weekdays to only go out, like maybe on certain days, so that the other days I can spend time at home with them and like have bedtime together. I feel like the best way that I would manage it, I'm not saying that again this might not work for everyone, but like for me, how I would do it is like I would really intentionally create these routines that we are so used to, and then also there's like family holidays and stuff lah. But check back with me in 1 or 2 years and see how that's going. How to train kids to get off diapers at night? Wow, I don't remember how I did it. They got off diapers in the daytime first. They were still wearing diapers for a while. I think until about they were like maybe 5-6 years old. I think Fighter was maybe 6 years old when he like got off night diapers. Penny was younger because Penny does everything faster. I think that, but like what we did was like we put like the waterproof sheet under their bed sheet, so that even if there's an accident, it's not too bad. Then don't let them drink so much water or milk at night before they sleep. Make sure they go to the toilet first. And I think maybe the first couple of nights we did wake up to check, to like wake them up and ask them whether they wanted to go pee or not. Then it was quite uneventful lah. Like they took to stopping diapers at night quite well. How do you choose extracurricular activities for the kids? Wow. Okay, so my kids don't really do that many extracurricular activities actually. When they were younger, I did make them do swim classes because I just felt that like swimming is like a life skill and it's to prevent you from drowning, so that was like a non-negotiable. Beyond that, I signed Penny up for ballet, baby ballet, just because I thought it looked super cute, and I never got a chance to do ballet myself. And I'm also like a terrible dancer lah, so I signed her up for baby ballet, and she ended up just really liking it herself, and she ended up being really good at it also. So from baby ballet, she expanded into modern dance, which I think like they call it modern or jazz or contemporary. I think it's all the same thing. And tap dance, and at school she does hip hop as well. Like these are all activities that she chose herself. Like she wanted to go for it, and she herself sticks with it. So I've actually never really pushed her to do anything else. Yeah, so for fighter we tried a couple of different things. When he was younger, he was very clumsy. So the occupational therapist actually told us to get into like more exercises, go outdoors more. So we tried like a couple of different things. We signed him up for a wushu class, but that was before COVID, and then when COVID hit, the wushu class turned into online, and it was just like a disaster. Like the teacher couldn't see what they were doing, so the teacher kept scolding them, and then he got very stressed. So like we're like, okay, like, like no point, then we just stopped it. Beyond that, then Korean, he actually asked for Korean class himself because he was really into Psy that time, and he just wanted to learn Korean, and he loves his Korean tutor. So like it's been 7 years seriously. Like he started learning at 5. I don't know how good he is because none of us can speak Korean, so it's not like we can practice anyway, but he's still going at it. And then he did dodgeball because that's something that he really loves at school, so he does like an after school dodgeball thing also at school. And then I realized that he really liked singing and like acting, and he's just being very dramatic. So he got really into musicals because I love musicals, so we always go watch when we're overseas. And then I found a musical theatre school. It's called Monday Show. So if that's something that you're looking for your kids, you can go check it out. So we found Monday Show, which specifically teaches music and drama in the context of musical theatre. So like he loves it lah. So that he's been going for that. And beyond that, because I feel like he also has a natural talent in singing, and he also said that he wants to become like an artist at one point. So I was like, okay, why do I sign you up for singing class? Then I found a teacher who he really gels with also, so he does that lah. So I guess going back to the question of like how I chose the activities, I didn't actually choose it for them. When they were younger, I did a little bit, but like when they said that they didn't want, when I knew that they had no interest, I was okay to like give it up. So for example, they also both did piano for a while, but both of them were not really into it. So then I was like, okay, there's no point. Then we just stopped it. So I didn't really choose. I kind of chose them, but I also gave them the choice themselves and the freedom themselves to decide whether they wanted to continue. And most of the other things that they are doing are stuff that they choose themselves, so not me. How to manage grandparents who interfere? Yeah, so this is a question that I think is very common. Like I would say it's very common in Asia, but I'm sure like in the US or whatever, it's probably the same. We also had that. I think when the kids were younger, especially, I experienced this a lot from both sides. I think it came from a lot of it came from the fact that like they were very worried because like I didn't have experience as a mom before this, obviously. So they were very worried, and like just grandparents being grandparents, they felt that they had the experience and they wanted to share it with me, and then they thought that like their way was right lah, and that's why there was like this, like they did push their opinions and like their preferences on me. I remember being very stressed, especially when I was a newer mom and the kids were younger, but I think with like time I got the hang of doing things, and I know the kids better than anyone else, I think. So they kind of also like let go on it, and they just more or less let us make our own decisions. So I'm lucky in that. But if they were still going on, right, I think we would have to really have a very difficult conversation, but which needs to be done, to sit down with them and kind of like lay out our boundaries and our rules lah, and expect them to follow them. I mean, I know it's easier said than done. Like, if you don't want to follow my parenting style, then like you don't have a say. And I know like a lot of Angmos do that. I think that's easier said than done. But like the first step that we'll really do is really sit down and have this serious talk and make them see how sit down and have this talk. Make it clear that like we are the parents and the ultimate decision should still be ours, and like to please respect that. How do you handle sibling rivalry? So if you can tell, I recorded this on a different day because I forgot to finish this question. So this was something that we really prepared for right from the beginning when Penny was still in my tummy. So like when I was like nesting, preparing like for Penny's arrival, I knew that I was going to give Fighter's crib to Penny already because I didn't want to buy a second crib and have 2 cribs in the house. So we had to kind of like transition him to a new toddler bed, and I remember making a very big deal out of it, like getting him very involved in the preparation of everything and involving him in preparing his room, like going shopping for a new bed together and making it like a very cheerful, very happy and very exciting experience rather than like something to be dreaded. And then after that, right when Penny was born, I also gave him a present and I said that this is from your baby sister. It's like a hello present. I mean, that time he was like less than 2 years old, so I don't know if he really got it. Yeah, so we did all these things, but then in the end, when Penny was born, he was still like, no. There were like very funny things that he did. Like, he really didn't like Penny using some of his things, like some of his toys. Yeah, so I don't remember how much he understood, but I remember him being okay, quite neutral, quite nonchalant about Penny's arrival. And when she was born also, he was like, oh, okay, but the first time she started crying, he was like, oh no. Yeah, and he would get quite jealous over like her using his things, even though like his baby things, even though these are things that like he doesn't use anymore. Like for example, his baby rocker. I remember like when we took it out for Penny, and it was something that he already stopped using like when he was a newborn. He would like try to climb into it and then keep saying that this is his and not Penny's one. But that being said, I came across some kind of resource or article or something, and it said that sibling rivalry is basically competition for a limited resource, and the resource is us, the parents, like our time, our attention, our praise, and I never forget that. So for us, what we do is that we are very, very careful not to make them feel like they're in competition with each other in any way. Like we individually celebrate their achievements, for example. So for us, we've been very careful to make sure that they don't ever feel like they're in competition with each other. I know this is something that a lot of our parents did growing up, thinking that this would encourage us to do better or something, but I don't think it really worked out like that. So like they would be like, oh, look at your cousin, why can't you get straight A's like your cousin, or look what your sister's so well behaved, can you please learn from her, this kind of stuff. And I remember getting compared also, and it was very triggering and very hurtful, and I really felt like, even back then, I really felt ashamed. And that's something that was very clear that I didn't want our kids to ever feel. So we were very careful about the competition thing. We really make it a point to celebrate both of their achievements, and they're obviously very different people, so they have very different talents and different interests, and therefore different achievements. So we are very careful in celebrating their individuality and the things that they do. And growing up, like, they did fight a lot, obviously, especially when they were much younger, like toddlers or in kindergarten, like fight over toys, fight over somebody look at the other person the wrong way. Yeah, but I feel like this slow drip, like this keeping at what we are doing, has really paid off, because I just actually really noticed this year, now that they are like both 10 and 12 and pretty big already, right? Maybe this year or like end of last year, that I really noticed that actually they have been very, very supportive of each other. Whenever we go for one of their concerts or like performances or what, the other one is always the biggest fan. Like, they are the one, the sibling is the one who's screaming and cheering the loudest, and like the one who's very eagerly looking out for their sibling when their sibling comes on stage, like even much more than us. And I also realized that like, they used to bicker a lot more and fight a lot more, but like I said, in the last maybe less than 1 year or so, I feel like they really got each other's back. Like, if you're an outsider, you can never say anything bad about their sibling, because they will like go kill them. I remember there was once Fighter got beaten up at a playground, and then Penny just like the boy somehow pushed Fighter down and then climbed on top of him and then started like trying to punch him and like trying to drag Fighter around the playground. It was very scary. I wasn't there, my helper was there, but before my helper could step in, Penny like rushed up, and then she basically pulled the boy off Fighter, and then she slapped the boy. So I really think that the boy deserved it, because it was like uncalled for. I think Fighter was using the swing or something, and he wanted to get on the swing, and that's what he did to Fighter. So like I really feel like they've really got each other's back, and they're not just like siblings right now, they are really very good friends. Like, they enjoy each other's company, they are very happy to do things together, and they even like make plans together to do things, which really makes me very happy. And it's something that I hope will form the foundation of their siblinghood and their friendship for the rest of their lives. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Hope it wasn't too long, but I just really wanted to get into all the questions and go into detail and answer. And if you guys have any more questions, you can look me up on Instagram, or you can also leave comments here and I'll get back to you. Bye!